Welcome to my presentation on ambush marketing by John David Rutten-Turner. During the presentation, I will be covering kind of the background information about ambush marketing, strategies used by companies in ambush marketing, marketers' perspective of ambush marketing, event organizers' perspective of ambush marketing, and then finally current issues involved with ambush marketing. Ambush marketing is not a household term because most often it occurs during mega sporting events, which would include the Olympics, World Cup, Super Bowl, Stanley Cup, really any sporting event that attracts viewers from around the world. Ambush marketing was first used during the 1984 Olympics in Los Angeles when Nike used the slogan "I love LA" during their advertisement, causing confusion among consumers if they were an actual sponsor of the Olympics, which they were not. It was actually Reebok who was the official sponsor of the games. Defining ambush marketing, I use two definitions. First, ambush marketing is a planned campaign by an organization to associate themselves indirectly with an event in order to gain at least some of the recognition and benefits associated with being an official sponsor. And then second, ambush marketing is a company seeking to associate with an event without making payment to the event owner and often in direct conflict with a competitor who is a paying sponsor. Putting together kind of these two definitions, I can simplify it to saying ambush marketing is a planned and deliberate marketing campaign to confuse consumers on who is the official sponsor. Strategies used by companies. First, companies will sponsor the broadcast. The broadcast company will then add the company's name and logo to the opening or closing of their broadcast before or after commercial breaks. Like this example from the 2016 Rio Games when NBC's broadcast was sponsored by Smuckers, BMW, Coors, and CoverGirl. None of these companies were sponsors of the games, but still found a way to be advertised during the games. The second strategy is used when companies sponsor specific athletes during the Olympics or other sporting events. For example, Nike sponsored Michael Jordan and Charles Barkley when they played for the Dream Team. When accepting their gold medals, both players chose to cover up the Reebok symbol on their warm-up as loyalty to Nike as their sponsor. The third strategy is when companies use a theme related to the event taking place. Like in this example when VW advertised the Golf GTI during the 2015 World Cup. As you can see, VW used themes associated with the World Cup and soccer itself. They changed the word goal to golf, a popular saying when someone scores in soccer. The fourth and final strategy used is advertising in the geographical surrounding. This can be done in a couple different ways, advertising on billboards or signage near the event, or like what Pringles did during the Wimbledon Open, was handing out containers with the saying, "These are not tennis balls." And the reason why is because the Pringles container looks very similar to a tennis ball container. Looking at the marketer's perspective of ambush marketing, first they'll say ambush marketing is not illegal because when they are advertising, as long as they are not breaking any trademark, protected sayings, or symbols during their campaigns, they are not breaking the law. For example, an advertisement cannot use the Olympic symbols or words unless they are an official sponsor or partner with the Olympics. If they do, then they are breaking the law. Second, many companies, especially in the United States, will reference their First Amendment right to protect them when using symbols and words trademarked when it's for a non-commercial purpose. For example, the U.S. Olympic Committee brought a lawsuit against American media when they published a magazine called Olympics USA, The court ruled in favor of American media because the magazine was not an advertisement and did not have a specific product being advertised. The magazine itself was sold for profit, but their First Amendment rights were protected when expressing views in print media like magazines, books, or newspapers. Finally, many local and small companies struggle to meet the financial cost of being an official or partner of a mega sporting event. Local businesses in host cities are fearful because many of them do not have the resources or knowledge of what is permissible conduct when using images, words involved with that mega sporting event. For example, during the London Games, local pubs were banned from posting signs reading, "Come and watch the London Games" from our big screen, because the words London Games were protected and those local businesses were not sponsors. They were not able to use those words. Hopefully regulations can be reduced to help benefit these local organizations or these local businesses to gain economic advantages when a mega sporting event is in their city. Looking at the event organizer's perspective, the first thing that protects events from ambush marketing is known as the Layman Act of 1946. This protects the trademark of an organization, including graphics, symbols, phrases, words, and logos. A company cannot use the Olympic rings without paying to be a sponsor or partner of the Olympics. If a company uses any of those things, there can be a civil lawsuit because the company is trying to deceive the consumer that they have an affiliation, a connection, or association with the organization that is putting on the event, even though they did not pay for sponsorship. The second protection comes from the Amateur Sports Act, which was actually set up by the United States Olympic Committee and gave them more protection of their graphic symbol, phrases, and words and logos. An example would be when a company known as San Francisco Arts and Athletics wanted to sponsor the Gay Olympics. They were in violation of the Amateur Sports Act because they used the word Olympics. When the USOC, or the United States Olympic Committee, heard of this, they brought lawsuit against San Francisco Arts and Athletics, and the court ruled in favor of the USOC because the Olympic word is protected. Plus, the USOC said the Olympics is not to promote gay rights, but to promote elite athletic competition. The final thing organizations can do for mega sporting events is actually set up event-specific ambush marketing legislation. This type of legislation helps sports organizers to have more control over the design and layout of the space involved with the event. This type of legislation was first enacted before the 2000 Sydney Games and continues to be used in host cities, especially to gain favor in obtaining the games or other mega sporting events. This can help, hopefully, reduce or diminish the value of being a sponsor because other companies are ambushing the event with their advertisement. Current issues involved with ambush marketing. Athletes are starting to resist the amount of restrictions the Olympic Committee has created to prevent non-sponsors from being a part of the Olympics. Many athletes are sponsored by companies who are not top sponsors of these mega sporting events, and because of a rule called Rule 40, there's a blackout period in which only top sponsors can be featured. This rule is especially important when talking about the Olympics. Athletes feel like this hurts them from making money because they cannot have advertisement or support their sponsors during a certain time, during the most important competition of their life, the Olympics themselves. Social media makes it hard to monitor and control ambush marketing. There are rules prohibiting athletes and companies from using social media to promote brands that are not sponsors of the event, but any casual fan can tweet or Instagram about a brand while being at the event itself. Companies who are top sponsors have a lot to say in the enforcement of ambush marketing. If they feel a competitor is using ambush marketing, they can force the event sponsors or the event organizers to implement strict rules through legislation to prevent such activities as non-sponsoring companies running ads during the Olympics with Olympic athletes or other sporting events. And then finally, event organizers need to be able to keep all event stakeholders satisfied. Many sporting events would not be possible without sponsorship, and losing that money would hurt the event itself. An example are athletes who are stakeholders in the Olympics. They're kind of the ambassador of the games. If they are helping with ambush marketing tactics, that could hurt the Olympic brand. Plus, it could possibly force or cause top sponsors not to renew their sponsorship, which then might cause the Olympics or other events to lose money and not be able to showcase athletes in the games themselves. Finally, there is no simple answer to solve ambush marketing, but I do believe as consumers, as possible future marketers, if we understand this issue better, we can help plan better events to prevent ambush marketing and hopefully support sponsors of the event better and not allow non-sponsors to be using the event as a financial gain for themselves. Thank you, and here are my references.